This video will look at the labeling defaults within NavCom Survey CAD. At the top of the screen is a button labeled SM Annotate. Click on it, and from the drop-down list select Labeling Defaults. This will bring up a list of your labeling defaults, which includes bearings, distances, elevations, descriptions, point numbers, curves, and lot scenarios. If you click on one of these, it will bring up the Labeling Defaults dialog box. Another way to get to the screen is to simply select one of the labeling default icons from the MS Defaults toolbar. Across the top of the Labeling Defaults dialog box are tabs for each of your different labeling defaults. Starting on the left is the Bearings default. Here you will choose a style index, which gives you up to 5 different user-defined methods for labeling bearings. There are many settings you can adjust for each style index. First, there is the size of your text, which can be done in either Leroy size or plotted height. Please note that if you choose to use plotted height for the size of your text, you will need to do so from the NavCom Survey CAD defaults, which can be accessed through the MS Tools drop-down menu. For this example, we will use Leroy size of 100, which is equivalent to 1/10 of an inch on paper. The size of the text on your diagram will be calculated from the current drawing scale. Next is Style Name, where you can designate a unique name for the style to identify it from other styles. Layer Name is the name of the layer on which the labeling text will be placed. Please note that layer name is defaulted to match your style name, but can be changed. If there is no existing layer that matches the layer name, NavCom Survey CAD will create a layer using your designated layer name and the layer color you have selected. If you would like to choose a different layer color, simply select the Layer Color button and choose your desired color. Font file name defaults to the supplied msurvey.shx font that came with NavCom Survey CAD. If you would like to choose a different font file, simply select the Browse button to locate your desired font. Text offset indicates how far off the line you would like the bearing written. The default is set to 0.5, or half a text height. Oblique angle indicates the amount of slope, or italicizing, you wish to apply to the lettering. Seconds rounding indicates the seconds number that you would like NavCom Survey CAD to round up to. If you set this number to 1, then your seconds will be rounded up to the next whole number. If you set it to 5, then your seconds will be rounded up to the next number divisible by 5. Or if you set it to 60, your seconds will be rounded up to the next whole minute. For spaces after quad, if you are working in bearings, it represents how many spaces you would like between the north, south, east, or west bearing and the numerical value that follows it. For example, if the value is north 1, adding a 1 to this box will display the quadrant as north space 1. If you would like numerical values to begin with a 0, so that bearings such as 7 will be displayed as 07, you can select the Leading Zeros checkbox. Select the Reference North option if you are working in an area without a south reference and all your bearings must be referred to as either northeast or northwest. Selecting the Distances tab on the top of the window will take you to the Distances Labeling Options screen, where you will see similar options to the ones you had for bearings. The different options you have for distances include things like scale factor, which will label your distances based on the scale factor you enter. For example, if you have a distance of 100 feet and you enter a scale factor of 2, then your distance will be labeled 200 feet. This is useful when converting measurements such as from metric to feet or ground to grid. Decimal places are the number of digits that appear after the decimal point on your label. For example, if you enter a 3, your distance labels will have 3 digits appearing after the decimal point. If your measurements are in feet, then you can choose the foot symbol when imperial option to display the foot symbol after the number. Selecting the Elevations tab at the top of the window will take you to the Elevations Labeling Options screen, where you will again see similar settings options to the previous tabs. Instead of the option to have multiple preset styles, you will see the Prefix box, where you can enter a unique identifier which will appear before every elevation on your drawing. For this example, we will use ELEV equals, so we know that the number which follows is an elevation. Other setting options which are different include Text Offset. Here you are given the option to designate how many text heights you want the X and Y axis offset to be. Remember that your text height is designated by your Leroy value. Rotation represents the angle at which you want your elevation labels displayed. Oblique angle again refers to the italicized angle of your label. And decimal places refers to the number of digits you would like to see appearing after the decimal point. If you are measuring in feet and would like to see the foot symbol after your elevations, then you can select the foot symbol checkbox. Under your Description tab, you will see a box for your default description. Your default description is set on the screen. However, it is controlled through the toggles to determine when it gets used. The default description would typically be used on any new points that have been created using functions such as auto-add points to objects, so that all the points will have the same description, indicating they were created at the same time, as long as the toggle is on to tell NavCom Survey CAD to use this description. Please note that the rotation angle we're using is set to 90. 90 degrees in Survey CAD is horizontal from left to right, 0 is straight up, 360 is straight down, and 270 is horizontal right to left and upside down. It is important to keep in mind that if you're using the surveyor's view, you may want to come in and adjust these settings after you have rotated your project so that the text looks right on the screen. The Point Identifier tab gives you similar options to the previous tabs, with the addition of the Point Layer field. Point Layer designates the layer which the actual point will be placed on, placing it on a separate layer than its labels. Under the Curved Labels tab, you will again see similar options to the previous tabs and label settings. Once the settings for all your labels are configured, select OK. You will then select the MS Tools button from the top of the screen. Scroll down to NavCom System Defaults, and you will see several options. Save Configuration File will save out your current settings should you need to transfer them to a different machine. Read Configuration File will import the settings from a configuration file that has been saved out from a different machine. Reset Factory Defaults will reset all your defaults to what they were when you first installed NavCom Survey CAD. And you can save it as your default configuration, if you wish to have these settings be automatically set as you have just configured them. To access these options quicker, you can also simply select them from the System Defaults toolbar.